So your headlines are the most important thing that you'll write for any project, because your headlines are the first and often only thing that your audience will read before they decide to click away or continue reading. In today's video, I'm going to show you 5 ways to write killer headlines that capture attention and get your audience to continue reading to the next line. I'm also going to show you 5 real websites as an example to give you inspiration for your next project when you're writing that next headline. Sound good? Let's get started. Okay, so headline copywriting tip number 1 is to keep it short and simple. Think about it. People have 3 seconds or less to decide if it's worth reading on. People don't read everything on your webpage or everything on your blog, and they won't read your email if they can't understand what you're selling them. So you want to keep your headlines short and simple. And a good rule of thumb is 7 words or fewer. If it's for a landing page or a blog, make sure it fits on 1 or 2 lines maximum. And for email subject lines or ad campaigns, obviously you want to keep it to 1 line so they can actually see the full message. So keeping your headline short and simple makes it easier for your audience to quickly comprehend and understand what you're selling or what you're offering them. So rule number 1 is to keep your headlines short and simple. Headline copywriting tip number 2 is to make them as clear and specific as possible. A great way to do this is to include any data you might have, any numbers, any customer surveys, or show a time to value. These are all great ways to really drive home clarity and specificity with your audience. If you say supercharge your marketing, that doesn't really mean anything because it's vague. It's also a buzzword, right? If you say optimize your marketing or increase your ROI by 200 or 300%, that's much more specific and much more memorable, and people will actually resonate with that. Avoid cliche words, avoid vagueness, and avoid the buzzwords because they don't really mean anything at the end of the day. Numbers and specificity, data, these are things that customers actually want to know about. So rule number 2 is to make it as clear and specific as possible. Headline copywriting tip number 3 is to help them visualize what success looks like. You can have an incredible offer, incredible benefit, but if you can't help them visualize what it looks like, then it falls flat. A great way to do this is to think about their end destination. What's their ultimate goal? Work that into your headlines. Or think about what's the emotional end state that they want to get to. Is it being more productive? Is it being more beautiful? Is it being more fit? Is it being more prosperous? Think about the emotional state or the emotional relief that your product gives them and work that into your copy. So tip number 3 is to help them visualize success, help them see how your offer or how your product works, and transport them to that end destination that they really want to get to. Headline copywriting tip number 4 is to make them action-oriented. By making your headlines action-oriented, you're making them much more direct and clear, and you're showing the steps that your customers takes to get to their outcome. Action-oriented headlines are great because they place your customer as the hero of their story. Now remember, your product or your company is not the hero of the story. It should be your customer. Your product or your company is the guide or the tool that helps them along the way. So tip number 4 for making your headlines better at grabbing attention is to make them action-oriented, make them more direct, and show your customer how they get to the outcome. Okay, headline copywriting tip number 5 is really a twofer. It's to create curiosity and ask questions. When we create curiosity in the minds of our audience, it builds a gap that they naturally want to close by reading on. So you can make an incredible claim or ask a question that really gets them thinking, and it's going to make them want to continue on. As a bonus, when you ask the right questions, you're getting your customer to pause and think critically for a moment. And if you're asking the right questions, more than likely, they're going to agree with you. And by getting them to agree with you earlier on, you make it easier for them to agree with you later on. So headline copywriting tip number 5 is to create a curiosity gap or ask a question that really makes your customer pause, think, and want to read on for the answer. Okay, so that wraps up 5 writing tips for creating killer headlines that capture attention. Remember, your headlines are probably the most important thing you're going to write because it's the only thing that your audience will read when they first scan. And if they don't understand your headline, if they don't like your headline, then you've lost them forever. Now, 5 easy ways to do that is keep your headline short and simple, clear and specific, help them visualize success, make your headlines action-oriented, and ask questions or create a curiosity gap. The best part about these tips is they're super easy and you can implement them for any writing process, whether it's for blogs, landing pages, emails, ad campaigns, you name it. Now, if you found this video at all helpful, feel free to give me a like or a follow. I have a lot more good content coming for you guys. Until next time, happy writing.